All right, KSI knocks out Joe Fournier in the second round. It was not really an impressive performance because he cheated. We're going to talk about this because everybody is mad. I'm here with my good friend and combat sports expert, Mr. Shiv, at throwing elbows. So what happened? KSI first round, dominant first round from KSI. I'd say clearly won that round. Second round, Joe Fournier found his moments here and there, but mostly was going to KSI. KSI landed overhand, wobbled Joe Fournier, started going up for follow-up shots. Then they clinch, and KSI clearly, in my opinion, accidentally elbows Joe Fournier, knocks him out cold. And afterwards, it seemed like the crowd noticed, it seemed like the fans noticed, it seemed like the replay noticed that this was an elbow that KSI landed on Joe Fournier because it was KSI's promotion, most likely. They didn't mention it they did mention it in the post-fight interview, but KSI didn't really acknowledge it at all. And from there, KSI now is looking at like a win. Will this be reversed to a no contest, disqualification? We don't know yet. Joe Fournier could very much well decide to appeal this. This isn't a pro fight, keep in mind, so the appeal process might be a little bit different than it would normally be for a pro fight. The referee did not notice. And I'm going to ask my boy, Shiv, what did you think about this elbow?
When we watched the replay, obviously, and we realized it was an elbow as opposed to that overhand, and I think, we were just shocked. We're like, oh shit, well, he cheated. Like, what are they gonna do, And then they announced it seemed like they were taking a second, like they were considering it. I think that we had it low because we were on stream, but one of the commentators even said something about, oh, this can be a no contest or a DQ, and then they gave KSI the win anyway. And KSI in the post interview said, he told me he wasn't gonna get caught with my overhand, and he did it, and it knocked him out, which kind of feels like, no, it didn't, it wasn't what happened. But a lot of people immediately after the fight were saying, oh, well, KSI would have won that fight anyway. And but the thing is, like how you said, Joe Fournier was really finding his footing a little bit in that second round. So I'm not saying he would have won or anything, but it kind of goes to prove how anything could have really happened if it didn't end that way. And so I think that personally, I think that they should have DQ'd KSI, mainly for the fact that I don't think that they should give no contest, because that is leaves room for another fight, and I don't think that they should run it back or anything. So yeah, that's basically how I feel. I feel like they should have DQ'd it, gave the win to Joe Fournier, because if you watch the replay, it wasn't an accident in the way that he had a pretty good form and he just, maybe Joe moved or whatever. He pushed him down, how we remember you pointed that out to me, that he pushed him down, and it was just a reckless throw, and then his elbow hit him. And so if you're gonna have that sort of recklessness in a fight like that, there should be some sort of consequence. So I think he should have been DQ'd. They don't run it back, and they just that it's a loss for KSI, and that's it. It's not like it affects his professional record anyway.
Yeah, KSI, when I first saw the fight, I thought KSI landed a left hook in the clinch, and I was like, man, KSI hits hard. But that's not what happened. KSI clearly elbowed him, when he hit him with the left hook, pushed his head into the elbow. It was a perfect picture elbow. If this happened in MMA, we'd probably be applauding this, but it happened in boxing. So KSI lost. He should really lose. I understand if it's a DQ. I think it should be no contest. Clearly not intentional. I don't think KSI, of course, wanted to cheat or anything like that. But it also sucks for Joe Fournier. Not just for KSI. It sucks for Joe Fournier because at the end of the day, we know KSI has his fan base. We know that he could go to YouTube and make money. This was Joe Fournier's opportunity to show and become a star of his own. If he beats KSI, we all know who he is, and this is a big opportunity for him. And like I said, he did land some right hands on KSI in the beginning of that second round. But it turns out that, he got robbed of the opportunity with that elbow, to me. And like I said, would KSI win? I think KSI would have won the fight. Like I said, I predicted a third round TKO. But I think that KSI would have probably kept landing overhands and probably got the knockout or a TKO or something like that. But either way, we just don't know because, Joe Fournier could have landed something of his own and changed the fight. Anything could have happened, and it sucks for him. And, I hope it gets changed to no contest. But it doesn't matter because it looks like we're already pushing toward KSI's next fight. We knew that this was going to happen. Tommy Fury was in attendance. They had a heated face-off. And to me, like I've said time and time again, do I think KSI beats Tommy Fury? No, I think Tommy Fury probably wins by decision, maybe even finishes KSI because KSI is so reckless defensively. But I would most likely go towards a decision with that one. But I don't think that fight will happen due to contractual reasons, with the whole Misfits not being really pro fights, and also Tommy Fury having trouble signing with Jake for so long. KSI doesn't do easy contracts. Normally has rehydration clauses and things like that. So I don't think the fight is going to happen. But my question to you, Shiv, is what do you think would happen in a fight with KSI and Tommy Fury.
What you said something last night that I think like it sums it up when you said that you don't think that KSI would win, but you think that he has a better chance than Jake did because of the fact that he is kind of just unorthodox in the way that he fights. He's just like a little bit awkward in the way that he fights, and so I think that that's a good point. And so I also think that he'll lose. I think that he would lose that fight, but I think that he may. There may be some moments there where people who are especially KSI fans who are watching will show that he may be like caused Tommy to hesitate or even hurt him, and they'd be like, wow, like this shows, because he beat Jake Paul, and then now he's fighting KSI, and KSI is able to hurt him or make him hesitate in one way or another. But the truth is that doesn't come from like boxing skill or ability. It just comes from the fact that like when you're fighting someone like KSI, you don't know what's going to happen because he just is not as strict on like boxing, like traditional boxing, as someone like Jake Paul is. So I think he'd lose as well, but I think that like there may be times in which it causes some sort of hesitation for Tommy Fury, in which people are going to look at KSI differently because he was able to do that to Tommy Fury, but it may not be for the right reasons.
Exactly. And the thing is with KSI, like I said, you nailed it perfectly, and I said this last night, and I've said this in many other videos and said it on many streams. KSI versus Jake Paul, I think KSI versus Jake Paul and versus Tommy Fury, they're more traditional boxers. And when you're fighting, when you're such a good boxer in the traditional stance and, traditionally, throwing 1-2s, it's harder to fight a guy that is like KSI, who's so unorthodox, just pushing forward, throwing overhands, having a karate stance. We see him throwing weird things, even elbows. That's how weird he just throws things, and obviously can't do that, but he's throwing a bunch of weird things, and it's hard to predict what is he going to do. I think KSI has to move forward for this fight. He can't fight Tommy Fury how he fought Joe Fournier, because honestly, Tommy Fury will beat him easily if he fights him the way that he fought Joe Fournier. Even for that round, even for that first round, he has to be pushing forward. He has to be aggressive, and I think KSI will do that against Tommy Fury. I just think he was a little more confident with Joe Fournier, so I think he just wanted to play around with him a little bit. But I think Tommy Fury will get the win. I see him winning by decision, just jabbing KSI. I can honestly see him maybe even finishing him because, like I said, KSI is bad with his defense, but I don't think that fight happens if I'm being honest. So where else does KSI go? I don't know. We're going to have to find out. Thank you, Shiv, for hopping on. If you want to shout out any social media while you're at it.
Sure, you can follow me on Twitter, dropshiv, DROPCHIV. And, if you want to go back and watch some previous streams, I'm on all of them pretty much.
Yes, sir.
And so if you want to watch some previous streams, we tend to have a good time, or just tune into future streams. I'll probably be on those as well. And so, we just have a good time, watch the fights, talk about it, talk about a million other things.
Yeah, so you'll follow him there, subscribe, like I said, as always. And thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you guys saw of the KSI fight, and I'll see you guys in the next video.